Hello everyone, and welcome, for the very first time on this channel, to Minecraft. Not just any Minecraft, but Vivecraft. That is the mod that actually enables you to play this game in VR. How cool is that? And today we're going to be exploring a map that is very nostalgic to me, because I actually made it about 8 years ago, back when I was finishing up high school. And it was around that time that I kind of came to realize the creepy and comfy potential of Minecraft, and I wanted to make a map that I could really kind of live in and bring that feeling to life. So you can see here we have a custom painterly texture pack meant to really bring out the fall and autumn feel. I really never did spend as much time with this map as I would have liked, but I do think I have enough to show. So as you can see here, we have the main residential street where all the houses are, so we'll be poking our heads in some of these. Now, I mentioned that I made this map back in 2013. I haven't really been back much since then. I've poked in maybe once or twice a year to look around. But during those times, I have made some minor changes. So if you look up there, you'll see we have campfires going instead of the old burning netherrack. And there's a couple of more minor changes like that, like I think we have lanterns somewhere. But beyond that, I haven't really changed very much. It looks pretty much exactly as it did before. So I guess we'll just pick a house and start looking around. Now you'll see here the Blake residence. So every NPC, every villager is named, every house is named. I've labeled a lot of things because I really wanted to get into kind of a whole town lore. I wanted you to be able to look around and interact with this. Hang on, does your name appear when we get close? Yep, there we go. There's Megan Minning. You're in the wrong house. But yeah, I wanted there to be like consistent families and relationships and like town records and stuff, and there's a lot of interactive stuff. I wanted there to be like mysteries that you could piece together, murders you could solve, and I only really ever got around to some of that. But anyway, let's move forward, and actually, we're reaching our first major hurdle right now. I don't know how to open one of these. That's not what I wanted. Okay, hang on. I have to figure out just what's going on here. Okay, so it's up on the trackpad. Okay, I'll fix your fence later. Oh, this is so cool. Yeah, I've always loved. Oh, I seriously just got scared by a villager on my own map. I love crazy big fireplaces like this. I love stuff like this. I love big fireplaces and open staircases and just cool spaces like this. Look, there's the sun going down over the farm and the house across the street. This is the kind of thing that I wanted this map to be. Just allowing you to really take in the creepy and comfy. In fact, as I watch the sunset, I almost feel like... It almost makes me wish I could sit down in VR, but, you know, I can sit down if I'm willing to bend my knees enough. Look at this. If only I had known 8 years ago that I would be able to do this and experience this map in VR. Imagine the structures I would have built, how I would have built it to accommodate what I'm doing right now. That's amazing. Minecraft is such a great game. Alright, I guess since we've seen it now, we'll head across the street and go up those stairs to the farm. So if we come around this corner here, you'll see I was super stoked on this when I figured out how to do this. The lights in the tunnel, they turn on at night. That's pretty basic redstone stuff, but redstone, like, fascinates me. Some of the stuff people do with redstone is just crazy, and I was super proud of myself when I got that working. Now if we come through here, we'll be able to... I hear running water. I don't know where there would be water running. That's Odd, maybe some kind of sound bug. But we come up these stairs. Motion sickness, motion sickness, bouncy, bouncy. And yeah, we have here the farm. This was actually inspired, it's a pretty bad job of it, but all of this was inspired by Herschel's farm in Season 2 of The Walking Dead. I thought that farmhouse looked so comfy, and I wanted that to be on this map. Now here's another minor change that I made. I only added this like a couple weeks ago. I put lanterns down in here for the longest time. This just didn't have any lights, and it's probably pretty conspicuous how I've been talking about the lanterns and ignoring that the cows are skeletons. Yep, we got skeleton animals in this texture pack. It's part of the Painterly pack. If you don't know, Painterly was I think it's gone now, but you used to be able to go online, and on this site you'd be able to individually choose each texture that you wanted. Something that's really cool about Optifine, which I believe installs automatically with Vivecraft, if you look at the ground around us, this torch is actually casting light. So holding this torch in my hand is actually useful. And here you see I added a chain, because I wanted something to get you to look down. The only thing is, I can't think of anything spooky to put at the bottom of this well. If you have any ideas, let me know, because I'm definitely open. Finally, we come on up to the farmhouse, and there's not a huge amount to see in here. I'm not going to be going through the interiors of every little structure, just because it would take too much time and I wouldn't have too much to say. Suffice to say, I wanted the farmhouse to be kind of a comfy little hangout spot. I used a lot of wool because there is just something about the wool in Minecraft that, you know, even though I've only seen it on a screen, it just looks so fluffy and comfortable. I mean, I want to lay down on this carpet. I want to put a TV right there, lay down on this carpet, and play some Sega Genesis games while it rains outside. And you just sit on the couch and look out at your army of skeleton pigs and cows and whatnot. I kind of forgot what I was talking about. Moving on. Now back on Main Street, I'm kind of curious what the source of that water sound was, because I heard it before. Yeah, there it is. What is that sound? What is this? This is the Minning residence. This is where Megan Minning was supposed to be. I'm wondering if maybe I did something weird with, like, bathrooms in here? What is this? No, that wouldn't be making the noise. Maybe the other room? Oh no, there's a basement. Maybe something next door? Oh, you know what? There actually is a secret in here. Hang on, I'll take a look. It's not a very good secret, because, as I've said, I can't do redstone. What's this? Here's a bedroom. Here's... What is this? Hang on, I'm gonna have to come back to that. That's not even what I came in here for. Okay. As you can see, not very well hidden at all. I could probably come back and do a better job of hiding this now. But I love the idea of, like, a secret annex. Or just some, you know, disabled child that the family was embarrassed of, just being locked in the attic, forced to watch passersby go down on the street as they come up with stories of the figure in the window in the haunted house. This is a POV shot of what that's like. But the sun's coming up, and I kind of want to figure out what was up with that other door that I don't even remember placing. Behave. Now, I don't remember this at all. Oop. I don't remember this at all. I don't like the silence. Oh, it branches off. This is like some kind of sewer? This seems like... This seems like the kind of thing I'd build, but I don't remember it at all. What's going on with the water over here? This is kind of disturbing me right now, guys, because I legitimately do not remember building this. This is making me so nervous. This is making me so nervous, and I don't even know how to bring out like a safety sword or something. Oh, there's a ladder. How do I use a ladder? Oh, wait, oh, that's cool. I actually have to move my hands like that. That is so cool. What is it? Oh, this is the, hang on. Yeah, this is the daylight detector in the tunnel. But I can't get out this way. I'm gonna have to break down the door, sadly. Yeah, what is... I have zero memory of placing the sewer system down. What the heck? Okay, well, it's daylight now, so I guess we'll move into the commercial part of town. And now that I think of it, this is my first time doing this in VR. Let's see if this works. I kind of designed this to be sort of a scenic walk into town that was inspired by just the feeling of walking down the sidewalk in the fall. You know, you have the orange leaves just constantly raining down from the trees. You're layered up, not quite for winter, but just a little more than you would for September. You have those nice, like, zipped-up hoodies that have such a comfy feel to them. You can feel the wind hits you in such a way where you can feel it blowing right through the threads. I love fall. I love fall so much. Yeah, I know, I agree, Skeleton Sheep. We're almost there. I kind of wish there was a little bit more water around here. Like that there was a whole pond. Maybe I'll widen that. We'll see if removing these hills would ruin the look at all. I don't know if that would make it better or worse. And you can see there's the church up on the hill. And we make a right down this street, and you can see these are all the shops. There's nothing much to these, so I'm not really going to go into them. It's a lot of bookstores and just random shops. I sadly haven't done too much with this commercial district that really warrants looking at, but as we round this corner, we're going to come to one of my favorite structures on the map, and that's the public library. Now, it's actually based off of the library that I used to go to as a kid, and that building has inspired so much of what I think of as the creepy and comfy aesthetic. So I set to building this, and we're going to go inside now, and once I went back there a couple of years ago they were having like a sale where they were like liquidating all their old computers. And what I came to find out when I went back is this actually doesn't look a whole lot like how I remember it. So in a way, that's almost a good thing because this is kind of like a child's perception of what the space was like based on a vague memory. And in that way, knowing what it looks like in real life almost enhances the feel of this. So I spent a lot of my time, obviously, back then in the children's section. So they had like a little alcove where you could see all the local artworks and stuff that people had made. There was a shelf here for all the books that were on sale. And in here would be the children's section, maintenance closet. And there would just be, the real thing was a lot bigger than this, but there would just be like rows and rows of these shelves. And they had a whole ghost section that I spent so much time in. I remember my favorite author at the time was this guy called Daniel Cohen, who would just write about all these different hauntings and alien sightings and cryptids. Oh, I loved it so much. I was actually able to track down recently one of the books that I took out all the time, which was Hauntings and Horrors. Maybe I'll look into some of his books on this channel one of these days once I get my stuff out of the attic. But you can see here, there is a secret with this library. You can see here there's these windows, but just black through them. There's nothing on the other side of these windows. Let's go take a look into that. If we head back over to the front area, we can make a left into the adult section, and it is honestly just humorous to me how my childhood memory constructed this adult section, because in real life the adult section is like much bigger than the children's section. But I never came over here, so I just assumed it was this boring little place where nothing exists. The only thing I knew was that it had 2 stories, so that was all I cared about. But I did decide to capitalize on this area when I built it for this map. So here we have another maintenance closet, and if we open this door and step inside, we can reach up, push this button, and whoop, and there's a false wall in the back. And as we walk through here, you see there's a staircase leading up there, and a door right here. There's the backs of those windows, and here we have a chest that if we open it up, we can see there's a whole bunch of creepypastas we can read that I sat there and painstakingly typed out letter for letter. Ah, there we go, left on the trackpad. And yeah, you can just come in here and read creepypastas. I thought that was a really cool idea when I first came up with it. Let's just put you back in your proper place on the shelf. I'm really, really anal about that. But how do we get out of here? Because there's no button over here. You can't get back through that false wall. Once again, I am easily impressed by redstone. I was really stoked when I came up with this. Now here, right now we just have a wall. That's something I had to fix recently, because they changed how things work. Before, the way it would work is there would be a little pit down here, and when you pushed that button, it would trigger a spawner, which would cause a chicken to fall down onto a pressure plate, which would activate an arrow which would kill it. But that pressure plate would also activate this. Crap. All right, take 2. Yeah, I had to change it because unfortunately at some point they made, I don't know if they increased chicken health or decreased arrow damage or whatever change they might have made to chickens. But after a while it made it so that the arrow wouldn't kill the chicken. So that kind of stopped working. It wouldn't close again after the chicken fell onto the pressure pad. Oh well. Engineering sciences change. And now, I think it's time for us to head up onto the church. I think there actually used to be... Look at this. I added the bell recently. I made a couple of changes with the 1.7.1 update, so you can see we have candles on the sides now, and we have a bell, and I think there's a couple of things that are different. But it's all just details. I don't think there's been a single new structure since like 2014. I really should get back into making this map. Looking at it in VR, I feel like there's a lot more potential in this whole idea. Actually, there's something kind of creepy about standing up at the pulpit and just kind of looking out. It's almost like I'm delivering a sermon to an enraptured crowd of invisible guests. I'm not going to look at this for any longer than I need to. But there's another thing here that I want you to see. So in this corner here, we have a trap door. Come on. Come on. Waka, 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 waka. And yeah, we have here an escape boat. And if you were to get onto this boat, it would actually take you out under the bridge, and then you can make a right or a left onto the river that runs through the town. There's nothing to see along that river yet, but I wanted there to be things along that river that you could go and see. I wanted you to be able to go on kind of your own little Apocalypse Now riverboat journey and find all the weird things along the way. I don't remember if I ever added anything or not, but if I did, it wasn't significant. And now through the front door, I can see daylight breaking. which means we will start venturing to the first of 2 more remote locations on this map. If we head on past the library, there's another bridge partway down the river, and if we follow this trail all the way out into the mountains, it's actually a really long way, we'll head to something pretty cool. There it is. When we walk down the hill and across this bridge, we'll head into the tunnel that cuts through the mountain that blocks our path, and as we come through this tunnel and round the corner, we'll be greeted directly head-on by the hospital, the abandoned hospital, that is. And this is especially spooky for me because I didn't build it for this map. This hospital actually exists originally on the server that I share with my cousin, and to place it here and in order to make it work, I had to go and kind of mummify it by hand. That meant replacing all the glowstone with deactivated redstone lamps, boarding up all the first floor windows, and going through and kind of giving the whole thing that kind of musty look. And that means there's actually no ambient light at all inside except for what's coming through the windows, which means none at all on the first floor. In that way, it's kind of like real exploring. And it's times like this that I'm really glad that this torch actually works. Oh, this is so creepy. I've never actually explored it like this before. So you come over here, there's the lobby. Let's spend a little bit of time down here in the dark first before we move on upstairs, where we'll have a little bit more ambient light coming through the windows. Yeah, here's a patient room. I think these are mostly patient rooms. I don't think there's really a whole lot of variety down here. But I honestly don't remember it that well. I haven't even been over to this part of the map in so long. What is this? Okay, we're running head-on into more stuff I don't remember. I don't like that auto jump onto blocks. It's useful at times, but... What? I don't like that narrow hallway. Just dark, narrow hallways all over this place. Even worse, the ones I don't remember. What's down here? I don't like this at all. I honestly got scared when those stone blocks came into view. I must have started working on a basement at some point and forgotten and just never continued. Wow. What else don't I remember? See, that's the real question, is do I not remember, or has somebody been working on this map while I wasn't here? The real answer is I probably don't remember, but still, you know. Oh, are you kidding? As soon as I get up to where there might be light, the moment I get up to where there might be light, the sun starts going down. That is just awesome. So when I originally built this, I had intended for the second floor to be psychiatric, which to my understanding at the time meant padded rooms. I've never actually come across a padded room in a psych facility that I've explored, so I don't know to what extent these things were used. But they're pretty much the only form of psychiatric treatment available in this hospital. This seems to be quite a bit wider and more welcoming than previous parts of the map. I always love... So, I don't know if there's a name for this in real life. Something that I really love is being able to look out of a window and see other parts of the same building that you're in. I think we're almost back to the central part of the building, and from here we should be able to see where we're going to go next. Yes, okay, so here's the staircases on the side. This is the main central staircase that we would have come up from the lobby. And the middle part is mostly just like administration, so there'd be like offices and stuff here. I actually kind of turned and got spooked by that creeper a little bit, and you look directly ahead and you can see that tunnel entrance. Let's not get too bright in here now. Wouldn't want to ruin the atmosphere. It's so weird because it's a space that I'm so, familiar with. Obviously, at some point, like 8 or 9 years ago, I spent a lot of time building this. But it's a whole other thing to actually be in it now. So now here we are on the 3rd floor, but we're not at the top. We're not at the top, so I'm really not good at staircases in Minecraft, or at least I wasn't. So now we gotta take a ladder to get up to the attic. Come on. It's a little bit finicky. No! Okay, once you're on it, you can just use the thumbstick. I love this. I love the idea of, like, dusty old attics. In my opinion, I made the windows a little too big. If I were to redesign this now, I probably wouldn't have the big windows. I would probably have just more, like, narrow slats like we see in the rest of the building. Because it reveals too much. From downstairs, you can see the whole attic. There's nowhere for spooky specters to hide. I want you... Okay, a building isn't doing its job if you can't feel eyes on you peering around every corner. I was just looking out this window, and I saw something I didn't notice before. You see anything in that corner? Look over here. I actually forgot that this was part of the map. But if you look down here, there's a whole staircase that's going to go all the way down. And you'll see, here we find the morgue. Now, I really wish my construction skills had been better back when I made this, because I would have been able to do more with it. But what was that noise? Oh, it's lava. It's lava somewhere. It sounds like it's coming from my right. How does that work? But yeah, real spooky space, and especially a real spooky space to be in VR at night. I actually kind of feel, it almost feels like there's something behind me everywhere I go down here. I don't know why I get that feeling down here and nowhere else. Let's get out of here. And actually, what better time to go? As the sun rises over the hills. You know, for a visual like this, for being totally shrouded in darkness, and then to have the sun just rising and light pouring in through the windows, and just this whole creepy space being suddenly lifted of its ominous atmosphere by the morning light. It kind of makes me want to camp out in an abandoned spot overnight. I wouldn't want to do it alone, but I feel like it would be really fun. This is something I want to do this in the near future. I really want to try it, and I think that the geriatric ward that I explored on this channel would be the perfect place to do it. Go check out that on my channel. The video is titled September and Geriatric Ward Footage. Those are the 2 videos that I've done on it. Go check those videos out, and you'll know what I mean when I say that I think those would be that would be the perfect place to explore overnight. I'm making my way back into town, and I forgot to mention this before. You see that cobblestone structure that's right there? It's kind of just a big box. So that is the original location of the Anomaly. I actually had to port this whole map over early on in its life because I was having major issues with chunk errors. And that was the biggest one. That was just like a whole void within that square that just like, it would totally screw up the whole map if you went inside it. It looked totally normal, but if you walked up on that hill, it would just, like, the whole game would just go totally wonky. And in the end, chunk errors started appearing everywhere, which is why I had to port the whole map over. These days, there's nothing wrong with it, but I decided to leave it as a monument to the almost apocalyptic, like, Lovecraftian event that destroyed this town once. Before I move on to the last area of the map, I realized there is actually one building in the commercial district that I want to show, and that's the Carpenter Theater. The reason I want to show this is because I think theaters do have a certain unique thing about them, even beyond just the creepy and comfy vibe. Now, I actually got a lot of experience with this feeling prior to the pandemic, because before the pandemic shut everything down, a friend and I worked in stage and event videography. We would come in and record shows that people were putting on, and then we would make the DVD or do a trailer or whatever. And during that time, I got really deeply familiar with the idea that, like, there's just this thing about theaters before and after a show where you know the space is usually so full of, like, life and loudness and energy. But when the lights go out and everyone leaves, it's like all of the energy in a place like this, I guess it's raining and we have leaky roofs, it's like all of the energy just kind of lingers. It's especially true in old structures. It's almost like the effect is cumulative. Like, the more crazy and loud events have happened in a place, the more you can feel all of it. In order to get to that second distant structure I mentioned, we have to go back through the town. And wow, I just got serious flashbacks, because walking through this tunnel, in the rain, with the loud thunder going on overhead, I'm actually reminded of that movie, The Pagemaster. Does anybody else remember that? So much of what I consider to be the creepy and comfy aesthetic comes from the intro to that movie. I've never heard anybody else talk about it, but I really hope people remember that movie, because the live-action intro is like some of the best film I've ever seen. I don't know if you can read that, I can't, but over there you'll see there's a bunch of gravestones marked with the names of members of various families that you can see around town. It's all very consistent, and I made it so that if you dig down, there are actually chests down there containing complete skeletons. But anyway, we begin our journey to the second remote location. After a long walk through the woods, we are finally coming upon the lodge. And this might be my favorite place on this whole map. And I couldn't have picked a better time to show up. Now, as we enter, I'll explain a little bit about the origins of this place. This place is inspired by the lodge from Condemned 2. Now, Condemned 1 is one of my favorite horror games ever. That is very loud. I'm going to come away from there. Condemned 1 is one of my favorite horror games ever. And a lot of people really, really did not like the sequel. And I understand that. The sequel does a lot of really stupid things that throw away so much of what made Condemned 1 so good. However, the things it gets right, it gets really right. It has some of the best environments of either game. Most of all, the lodge, and especially for how devoid of enemies the lodge is. It really does allow you to just kind of, unlike any other area in the game, just explore for such a good portion of that level. Back here we have a little dining area, which exits behind the bar. Whoops. I really should probably disable automatically going on top of a block when I walk up to it. It's really ruining my immersion in some ways. Now we'll come up these stairs, and with the stair and floor functions in this place, I've implemented an aesthetic that I don't know if it has a name, but it's something that I really like a lot, and that's just the idea of having a whole lot of different ways of getting to each place. So if we walk around, the whole kind of lodging area has a lot of doors and stairs and entryways. Yeah, here's one of the rooms. Each room on this side has a balcony. I hope that when I show you more of it, I'll be able to kind of put into words exactly what I'm describing here. So here, you can walk through here to get through these rooms, or you can come up here and walk this walkway. And there's no real reason for this to be here. It's just more ways to move around the space. And when you really start piling these things on top of each other, I don't know what it is. I just find that whole look so fascinating. Up here is the top floor. I never really found much to do with it, but I feel like this really is a comfy space. Now you can see there's little drops of water coming in from above. Ugh. I remember it was a pain and a half to get all of this set up in such a way that it wouldn't burn the rest of the structure down. I had to put out so many fires when I was building this. I just love the cabin in the woods vibe, especially when it's dark and raining. And once again, to bring up the wool textures in Minecraft, I really feel like I could just lay here forever. Maybe furnish this with some things, have some couches lying around. This really is the life. But there's a little bit more of this place still to see. Now, there's actually still one more lodging wing that we have not yet seen. And in order to get there, we have to go up here. These are kind of the more luxurious rooms. These have a little more space, a little more room to kind of stretch your legs. Actually, is that the only one? Yeah, that's actually the only larger room. Because if you come out here, there's like a whole sitting area. I love sitting under a patio awning in the rain. I've talked about this a little bit before, but there's something about being shielded from the rain coming down. It's kind of like sitting in a car on a rainy day. There's just something really comfy about being in a situation that you know would leave you in discomfort, but you're shielded from that discomfort, and it's just kind of happening all around you, but you're fine. But anyway, that was my creepy and comfy Minecraft map, and experiencing it in VR, I can see I succeeded. This really did feel creepy and comfy at various different points, and sometimes simultaneously. I'm wondering, should I put this map up for down? Yeah, I'll do it. I'll put this map up for download. This map will be downloadable in the description, as well as the texture pack, so you can try this for yourself. I'll also link you to the official page for the Vivecraft mod. And if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.